Fireworks have been part of the 4th of July since the inaugural celebration in 1777. This year, Americans are expected to spend $2.7 billion in fireworks. The majority of those purchases happened this weekend. But that sparkle could be lost due in part to President Trump's tariffs and his trade war with China. Almost all consumer fireworks are manufactured in China. Right now, Chinese imports face on average a 30% tax, and that means higher prices for some explosives this year. But the big impact won't be felt immediately. Phantom Fireworks, America's leading fireworks retailer, purchased their 2025 inventory nearly 11 months ago before the increase in tariffs. However, as the company prepares for next year and America's 250th Independence Day celebration, that rising cost could lead to a drop in sales for both consumers as well as local governments planning community fireworks displays. Concerns about prices and supplies have led to uncertainty for leading retailers.
The only country in the world that makes fireworks, or I should say 98% of all fireworks in the world, is China. And right now, China is shut down. They are not manufacturing fireworks for several reasons. But one of those is the fact that their warehouses are full. No one is importing and hasn't imported in the last 3 months because of the high tariffs. They're hoping that at some point there's an exemption for fireworks. There should be an exemption for fireworks because there's none manufactured in America. We're not harming any factories in America. And China has a 2,000-year history of manufacturing fireworks. So we feel that we need to have something happen soon in China so that there will be fireworks next year, not just for the consumer side, but for the professional side.
A growing number of cities in the U.S. and around the world are banning or restricting fireworks, and more communities are replacing their pyrotechnic displays with light shows created by drones. Those cities are ditching the fireworks because of the environmental and health impact that pyrotechnics have on people and animals. Joining us now to help us understand the effect explosives have on animals is Becca Wehmeier with the Clinic for the Rehabilitation of Wildlife, also known as CROW. Welcome, Becca.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So let's start with what animals are most impacted by fireworks displays?
There's a lot that can be impacted. More so, probably birds are the most impacted due to the firework displays going off, the loud noises that can harm them. It can cause disorientation. They can fly more likely into buildings or cars, but small mammals can also be affected too. If a mom may see that a nest site is now no longer a safe environment because there's a lot of noise or distractions going on, she could easily abandon her young and kind of take off.
So I know your group works hard to help animals that have been injured. What types of animals do you see after a 4th of July celebration, and how do you help them? Does it change what you do after a celebration?
Sure. A lot of it can go into education aspect of it. We may see a spike in hit by car cases or just trauma cases in general. Sometimes even a spike in dog attack and cat attack cases too. If a dog is very scared and may get out of someone's fence or their yard, that's now another predator in the environment that those animals have to evade. So we may see a spike in those cases as well.
So a lot of people will say, well, animals, especially out in the wild, right? They're used to having thunderstorms, lightning, the sound of thunder. How is this any different?
I think with those are more natural sounds that they're exposed to in the wild. They're used to the kind of weather aspects. They're used to hurricanes. They can sense those coming. They can take shelter. 4th of July and the fireworks and the noises that it's a new and it's a different sounds that they're experiencing for such a short period of time. It's not a naturally occurring sound that is in the environment, so they're not used to it. It can then disorient them very easily.
So fireworks are certainly nothing new. In fact, in doing a little bit of research, I found that the Chinese first created and manufactured fireworks in the 9th century using bamboo stalks and gunpowder. So, these shows have been around for such a long time, but now we are seeing communities like Sanibel becoming more concerned about the impacts to the environment. Are you surprised that we're seeing this change now in some communities?
I think it's a positive change for sure. I think the concern is how much of an impact it can have on our wildlife populations and the birds in general, and looking at protecting our native species and our populations. A lot of the what's going on in the environment, it can throw off migration patterns, it can throw off even migration patterns to the extent of it can affect breeding populations, so you can see a decrease in our number of native birds. So I think or the steps that we can take to help protect them as much as we can, I think it's a step in the right direction.
And you say it's not just the immediate impact of the sound and the light, but it's also the lasting environmental impact. Tell me about that.
So after fireworks or even just any general celebrations, there's harmful pollutants that could go into the waterways, especially here in Southwest Florida. Animals can easily ingest those things. They may choke on them, or they're just not able to ingest them in general. You can also look at the fact of those birds or those small mammals can leave their young because they're spooked and they're scared. They don't deem that a safe environment anymore. That then affects that those young no longer have a parent caring for them, which could be really detrimental to them and having been abandoned by mom.
What do you want us to learn from this? As far as, I was saying that some communities are turning to drones. What is your message to anyone out there who wants to be at least sensitive to what animals are facing during a 4th of July celebration? What can we do to make the situation better?
Yeah, I think, celebrating responsibly is a huge aspect of it. It's not necessarily a one-night event. A lot of people enjoy the full weekend with family and friends. If you're having like a grill out, making sure those fires are put out responsibly. If you are choosing to, do your own fireworks, making sure you're cleaning up after yourself and get that debris and, harmful pollutants that could go into the environment that animals could ingest. Making sure you're safe as well and not doing anything you're uncomfortable doing. So a lot of things that we recommend is if you're wanting to do fireworks, going to a professional kind of show that's being put on, by the city, to where those experts are there to make sure that it's a safe environment for everyone and it's a controlled kind of space.
Becca Wehmeier, thank you so much for your time and happy 4th.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for watching. We've got more great content for you, from news to the arts to the environment. So be sure to like and subscribe to WGCU's YouTube channel and follow us on our social media platforms for the stories that matter to you.